Airbnb long-term bookings are on the rise. As customers return to the platform, they're looking for longer-term stays and the ability to bring pets with them, according to Airbnb CEO Brian Chesky.
So I think that this is a worthwhile conversation because we did talk about Airbnb again back in March and April because I think Airbnb put a pause, right? Because travel restriction, and then you weren't able to book less than 30 days, right? Wasn't there
I'm not
some
sure.
sort of?
I forget if they did a pause.
I think we'll have to bring Tim on for that one because I know that Tim's Airbnb Macy's situation sort of hurt a little bit because you weren't able to book just one night. I think there was a minimum stay. I do feel like we talked about that, a few months back about Airbnb sort of taking a nosedive.
And maybe it was area specific. I don't remember that.
But I do. Well, again, hotels were closed because you couldn't do short term, right? Airbnb looks for.
Yeah, this is March 16th. Experiences paused to prioritize safety of community. With this priority in mind, we've made the difficult decision to pause all Airbnb experiences until at least April 30th.
Yeah,
so you're right. That was on March 16th. So that was a month and a half pause.
Yeah, there was a little. So I'm happy that we're re-engaging the conversations, and I do think naturally. I'm still getting people looking for rentals, long-term rentals, short-term rentals. Hey, if I'm working remotely, like people that are sort of in the middle of the state, if I'm required to work remotely, maybe I'll spend my winter on the shore. Mm-hmm. So I do think there's going to be wonderful opportunities to continue to come up for long-term rentals.
This is an amazing stat. Yeah. So Airbnb experienced a 22% year-over-year increase in consumer spending in July. So July 2019, July 2020, 22% more here in July 2020.
Well, we were talking
really
about
impressive.
It before, though. Like, is it because the homeowners are charging more? Is that why?
Because they did say it's consumer spending, not necessarily bookings.
Right.
As consumers are returning, they're looking for these longer term stays. We mentioned that at the top. Mm-hmm. There's a new trend where traveling and living are starting to blur together. People are all working from home, so they can be anywhere when they do that.
Right.
People are booking for weeks at a time or even months at a time.
Yeah.
Some of the things we mentioned, pets, they're looking to bring their pets because they're going to have these longer term stays. They also are frequently searching for pools, Wi-Fi, so that Wi-Fi connection keeps coming up. Like, how strong is my Wi-Fi?
I mean, everyone needs Wi-Fi. I want a Wi-Fi if I'm staying for one night.
I think specifically the strength has been important to people, though. It's been important to me. Kitchen, air conditioning, washers. Yeah, you're going to be there for a while. You need to wash your clothes. Jacuzzi.
Wow.
And free parking. Hey,
jacuzzis.
Who doesn't want a jacuzzi?
I don't know.
Now
you're sharing. Like, who was in there before?
Little hot tubby?
Did they quarantine?
Little hot tubby action?
Is it clean? I don't know.
Airbnb guests are also largely booking spontaneous trips close to home.
That I don't think is a racket at all. I mean, just to get away for a few days where you're not staring at your dishes or your laundry, I feel like is a bonus. Again, a majority of schools too, and I can only speak for our area, are doing like the hybrid model for school too. Mm-hmm. So many families now are able to, if your kid is going to school Thursday, Friday, you can skip out of town Friday evening and then not come back until Wednesday. So, I mean, you're having like this consistently long weekend each weekend, especially if mom and dad don't have to go to an office to work. I mean, you're pretty much just moving back to your house for 2 days to go to school.
And I think also the consensus too is that an Airbnb in a health pandemic is actually safer than a hotel because there's a lot more people in the common areas of the hotel, just a lot more people potentially in a hotel, where if you have a single family Airbnb, it's just you.
Well, but it's just better. I mean, now you're making your own breakfast, you're making your own lunch, especially if you're trying to do this on a,
longer term basis.
That, and like you're trying to save a little bit of money. I mean, as much as everybody obviously,
you don't save any money on Airbnb.
But I think you do because you're able. I'm not spending $25 for each of my children to have a bowl of Cheerios. But if I can have an Airbnb, I'm giving my kids
service and that kind of stuff,
right? So it seems to be the most economic way to sort of get away and to do it without having to pay breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Well, I think people convince themselves that they're going to save money. Then they get on the trip and they spend just as much as they would have in a hotel.
Potentially.
Oh, for sure.
Potentially.
People don't budget when they go on these trips.
I mean, but again, we're talking about long term. We're talking about vacation and life blurring. So this isn't necessarily a vacation. This is just a different place to now spend your time because you're just so sick of being home.
This is a super luxury thing to do. Like, have a home and then decide I want to go work an hour away from home because they've got a nicer view.
Right.
And I'm going to have, you know, a better capacity to get my work done over at this Airbnb. That's a super luxury thing to do.
Absolutely.
What I do think is interesting, though, is that it seems like there's a lot of these homeowners that are, you know, marketing their home on Airbnb, that, you know, investors, whatever, that are, you know, it seems like more of them are allowing pets because they mention it a couple times here. Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, boy, if I'm Airbnb-ing with pets, I am jacking up the pet deposit. So you're not saving money there on me if I'm the owner of this home. And I got to jack up the nightly stay because you do a year of people bringing pets into your home versus a year of people not bringing pets into the home. The wear and tear is going to be dramatically different. Mm-hmm. I don't know about you, but when I walk into a house where we've got pet owners, I can smell it. When the owners can never smell it.
Well, you love dogs, though.
Can you smell that? I can't really smell. Yeah, I can smell it. Yeah. I can smell it, guys. It smells in here, and there's real wear and tear that comes with pets. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Well, I guess what's super interesting there is that if you're getting into the Airbnb game and this is going to be your move, it sounds like you're going to need to be super strategic with the things that like maybe no carpets, maybe no rugs, you know, keep it, maybe not even any hardwood floors, maybe go with more of like a vinyl where you can easily wipe it down. You're not worried about paws. So again, I think if you're getting into the Airbnb game, this is just as important for you to read too, because you now need to know what people are expecting, demanding, and how are you going to be able to maintain your home long term.
Yeah, I don't think you'd ever, you know, have a night where you're unbooked if you allow pets. It's definitely going to help your bookings.
Right. And if you have high-speed internet.
I've seen people put in like the, you know, like in the foyer or whatever, a almost like a dog shower. So like if the dog comes in from the backyard, there's like a tub. It's like a car wash, you know, for your dog.
Right.
Throw them in there.
Maybe it's better off being outside though.
I've seen them outside, but I've seen them inside too.
Yeah.
They, you know,
like in a mudroom area.
You gotta give your dogs a shower every time before they come in the house.
Oh, but then they're wet and then they're shaking. Yeah. And then they're smelly when they're wet. I don't know. I think you might need to rethink that.
What a racket. Anyways, Airbnb, I think that's a racket. Airbnb though is what I don't think is a racket is they are going to IPO before the end of this year. So investors, keep your eye out for that IPO.